When sailors arrived in the late 16th and early 17th centuries, the dodo was an easy source of food. It was described as unafraid of humans, a trait that sadly sealed its fate. But it wasn't just direct hunting that did them in. The ships brought with them invasive species like pigs, dogs, and rats, which preyed on the dodo's ground-level nests, eating their eggs and chicks. The combination of hunting and these new predators was devastating. By the 1680s, the dodo was gone. It vanished so completely that for a long time, some people even doubted it ever existed. The dodo has since become a powerful symbol of human-caused extinction, but the dodo wasn't alone in its fate. On the same island of Mauritius, another unique bird, the red rail, met a similar end. This flightless bird, with its striking reddish-brown plumage and long curved beak, also suffered from the arrival of invasive predators that plundered its nests. Like the dodo, it had evolved in an environment free from such threats and was utterly unprepared. Its story is often overshadowed by its more famous neighbor, but its loss is just as tragic. The last confirmed sighting was in the late 1600s. Let's travel to another island in the Mascarene archipelago. Reunion here lived, the Reunion solitaire. For a long time, its existence was debated, confused with other birds in historical accounts. It was described as a large, flightless bird, similar to the dodo, but more elegant, with white plumage. Like its cousins on Mauritius, it was likely hunted for food by settlers, and its eggs and young were easy prey for introduced animals like pigs. By the turn of the 18th century, it had vanished. Its story is a frustrating puzzle, pieced together from fragmented sailors' logs and a few precious fossil bones, a ghost of a bird we barely got to know. And the losses weren't confined to birds. The 17th century also saw the extinction of Steller's sea cow. Though its final end came a bit later in the 18th century, its decline was well underway. Discovered by European explorers in the Bering Sea, this massive, gentle marine mammal was a relative of the manatee. It could grow up to 30 feet long and weighed several tons. It grazed on kelp in shallow coastal waters, slow-moving and completely unafraid of humans. For sailors and fur traders, it was an incredibly easy target for meat. Hunted relentlessly, its population plummeted. Its extinction is a stark example of how quickly a species, even a large one, can be wiped out by unsustainable exploitation. Back on land, we have the aurochs. This was a magnificent beast, a large species of wild cattle that once roamed across Europe, Asia, and North Africa. The aurochs is the ancestor of all our modern domestic cattle. It was a symbol of power and wilderness in many ancient cultures, depicted in cave paintings and revered for its strength. But as human populations grew, its habitat shrank. Forests were cleared for farmland, and the aurochs were hunted for sport and to protect livestock. By the 17th century, their range had been reduced to a single, isolated forest in Poland. Despite attempts at protection by Polish royalty, the last known aurochs a female, died in 1627. With her, the entire species was gone. We see echoes of the aurochs in some breeds of cattle today, but the wild, powerful original is lost to us forever. These stories, from the dodo to the aurochs, share common, heartbreaking themes: habitat loss, overhunting, and the devastating impact of invasive species. The 17th century was a time when the consequences of human expansion on a global scale were just beginning to be felt by the natural world. It was a period where the concept of conservation didn't exist. The world's resources seemed infinite. And the idea that a species could be wiped out entirely was almost unthinkable to most people. Studying these extinctions isn't about dwelling on the past with guilt. It's about learning crucial lessons for the present and the future. Each of these animals played a role in its ecosystem. Their disappearance left a void, unraveling a thread in the complex tapestry of life. It shows us how fragile ecosystems are and how quickly they can be disrupted. The dodo's extinction, for example, is thought to have affected the germination of certain trees on Mauritius that relied on the bird to eat their fruit and disperse their seeds. Today, we are facing an extinction crisis on a scale far greater than in the 17th century. Thousands of species are on the brink, threatened by the same forces, now amplified. Habitat destruction, climate change, pollution, and invasive species. But there is a critical difference between then and now. We know better. We have the science, the understanding, and the ability to track the health of our planet's biodiversity. We understand the consequences of our actions. The stories of the dodo, the red rail, and the aurochs are not just